Hello, mic test. You guys hear me? Hello, mic test. You guys hear me? Hello, mic test, mic test. You guys hear me? Hello, hello. You guys hear me? Hello, hello. Hello, mic test. Hello. You guys hear me? Hello, hello. Hello, mic test. Hello. Hello, mic test. Hello, mic test. You guys hear me? Hello, hello. We will start now. Hello, mic test. Hello. Hello, mic test. Hello, mic test. You guys hear me? Hello, hello. We will start now. I hope you guys can hear me. Paul, can you hear me if you're there? I hope you guys would chat me on Zoom or on our Telegram. I guess some people are still late, and maybe we could wait. Oh, that's cool if you can hear me. I know there are still some participants who's going to join us here on our webinar on our Zoom, but unfortunately they're not here yet. So, but we won't wait for them. So we would start. This is just gonna be a short webinar. I'll just discuss about the market review that the signal, the MACD-CSM, gave us this week, and some pairs or some currencies that we could wait or we could trade for the coming week. So, good evening or good morning or good afternoon to everyone. This would be the third webinar for our MACD-CSM, and to all those who's watching us here on Facebook, watching on our Zoom, and to all those who are on Telegram, you can watch our play of our webinar for this week. So I hope you guys had a good week of trading. There are a couple of pairs that are good to trade that could give you a good profit. But it's kind of more slow this week than last week, I guess. The way I see it, even though there are some pairs that could give you 100 pips uh, this week, there are still some other pairs that are a bit slow and could give you negative trades. But those trades are not too big anyway. The losses, it's more on profit anyway. So I will discuss everything from AUD CAD to USD JPY, the trades and the pairs that we took this week, and the losses or and everything. So for this week, as you can see, the overall signal for this is the strategy that we always use. Always check H1, H4, and D1. If these three time frames have the same signal, it's always good to enter a trade. It means that you would enter a trade if H1, H4, and D1 have the same signal. But for this week, as you can see, H4 and D1 on AUD CAD is sell. And unfortunately, this week there is no trade on AUD CAD, because as you can see, AUD CAD is sell since last week, and it is a buy on D1. So there is no trade on AUD CAD. For this pair, we still need to wait if H4 is gonna go buy soon. If there will be a buy, as you can see, it's crossing soon. On D1, we still have to wait if there's a possibility that it will go sell. But as of now, it's still a strong buy for AUD CAD. But we should just still wait for H4. As you can see, it's ranging on H4, and it's possible that it will continue the uptrend. But for now, it's not clear. Since H4 and D1 doesn't have the same signal on these two time frames, AUD CAD doesn't have the same signal. We should wait for AUD CAD, and there is no trade for this week. The next pair is AUD CHF. I know last week there's a trade on AUD CHF, but this week you should already closed it. I know if you would check, we would check this. There is around loss on AUD CHF around 30 pips. This is just H4, but if you will go lower on a lower time frame, so if you have a buy here, if you have managed to exit, it could be a positive. So for example, if you have 40 pips here, sometimes I don't have a positive SL yet until 50 pips. But if you want, at least you have a 20 gap pips on a profit that is 50 pips below. But sometimes I don't do that often. So if you would exit here, I know there would be around 40 pips losses on AUD CHF. on AUD on AUD JPY. I know there is a profit here. So if you manage to enter a buy on AUD JPY around this price, yeah, it's possible that you are positive 35 pips. But if you closed it, you are just negative 10 pips as of now. And as of now, AUD, as you can see, AUD pairs are going down on H4 time frames. As you can see, it's a sell here from AUD CAD up to AUD NZD, and it's a buy on those four pairs. That's why AUD NZD is a bit unclear right now. I mean, AUD pairs are a bit unclear right now if it will go down or it will be a buy for the next coming days. Just for now, this week, we should wait for all the AUD pairs. Because as you can see on H4, it's a sell, right? And it's a buy on AUD CAD, on AUD CHF. It's going up and down. The signal's up and down on H4 time frame. As you would see, guys, this is an H4 time frame. Usually, the signal should not change so fast. But since it keeps on changing, it changed 3 times this week. It means that AUD pairs is a bit unclear. The same here on AUD JPY and on AUD NZD. If you manage to enter, there's a possible profit here. The overall signal is a buy, right? So if you have around buy here, yeah, so possible 60 pips. And I hope you manage to exit from here. At least have a 20 pips secured profit if it reached around this profit. Then AUD USD. So AUD USD is a bit, there is still a buy. If you have a buy on AUD USD, you can still wait for AUD NZD to go up, or you can still hold your trade for this week. Since H4 is still strong, D1 is still strong, even there's a sell on H1 time frame, it's still not an exit. You can still hold your trades if you have a trade here. But if you closed it, you could have at least possible around 60 pips profit. And for those people who doesn't manage to enter the trade this week, you could still wait for AUD NZD to give you another buy signal. Once there's a buy signal again on AUD USD this week, you can re-enter, or you can join the trend of a buy signal on AUD USD. And on CAD CHF, for those people who just came on our Zoom meeting, you can just ask me here, and you can just chat me on our Telegram or on the chat group here on our Zoom. So next one is CAD CHF. CAD CHF. So if you, I know there is an entry this week for CAD CHF, but you should have been able to exit already, like a few hours before the market closed. I know, is this a negative? Let's check it out. So if there is a buy around here, so if there is a buy on AUD CAD, on CAD CHF, actually this is the thing about CAD CHF. If you would always notice, I always put my profit on the resistance, so it's around here. And if you enter a trade, since it's an H1 signal, you could have at least 36 profit here, and you should already exit at this price. But if you didn't close it, you would be negative right now. But I hope you managed to exit at the resistance price, which is 36 pips for this week. Then CAD JPY, as of now, you can still hold your trade. Even you enter at CAD JPY at this price, I think it's still valid if you still hold it. But for me, as you can see, the price, the resistance price around here, and your TP, your take profit would be hit. So your entry is after this arrow, right? So it's around here once the candle closed, and your profit would be around 43 pips for CAD JPY. That's how I always check my take profits. at the resistance or at the support level. Then CHF-JPY, if you have an entry on CHF-JPY, it's still valid, and you can still hold it until now. And if you are still holding it, you are 44 pips as of the moment. But for me, you should have already exit at CHF-JPY, because as you can see, this is the resistance level again, and it's already a close trade for me. You should have already managed to exit this trade with around almost 50 pips profit. And I hope you guys, if you have any question, just leave a comment on our webinar. Then the next one is EUR AUD. We will be discussing again. We will be discussing from AUD CAD to USD JPY. For EUR AUD, this is an exit already, and if you enter at H1, no, it's a sell. It's a sell. So if you have a sell here at H1, then it's around 94 pips profit. So if your TP is around here, it won't be hit. That may happen, guys. Sometimes the support level won't be hit, and that's why, as I discussed on the second webinar, since you already have a possible 90 pips profit here, you should have at least secured 50 pips or 40 pips profit here. So I will put lines here so it would be clear. So as you can see, you enter at this price, 1.56907. Then your TP is at this third level. But since it didn't hit your TP and the movement is around 90 pips, right? 94 pips, you have to subtract this by 50 pips, and you should have a positive SL of around here, which is would be around here, which would be around 40 pips. So you would have a positive SL at this point. So even the market reverse, you are not negative. I hope you guys manage to exit here on EUR AUD. Sometimes you really have to secure your profit. Don't hold your trade too much, especially if the market moved already. We should control ourselves and not to be so greedy. And yeah, that's part of trading. On EUR CAD, it's a sell here too. The TP, the resistance, I mean the support is around this price. Support is around this price. So if you enter sell on EUR CAD, it's gonna be profit of 60 pips. So unfortunately, if you didn't exit at this price, I mean, so if you're still holding this trade until now, you would be negative EUR. So you would be negative 100 pips. That's why we always have to set our TP at the support price, 60 pips. Because if you didn't have an exact TP, you would be negative right now. Wait, I got a comment. Which platform are you using on tour, right? I mean, what do you mean, Paul Gitao? I'm using actually MT4, just an MT4 for my platform. It's the broker is IC Markets. So the next pair is EUR CHF. EUR CHF, if you have a trade like this was Wednesday, I guess, you would still be break even until now. And or if not, you should have exit around this price already, around this price, because H4 is a buy, so you would exit here. But the general trend on EUR CHF is a sell on D1. That's why if you enter on H1, you would be negative 6 pips or 5 pips by this time. So a very minimal loss for EUR CHF. On EUR GBP, if you have a sell on EUR GBP, then as you can see, this is the sell signal on H1, right? and H4 is sell, D1 is sell. So the general trend for EUR GBP is a sell. And we will put again the TP at the support price, then check the profit from the entry, this arrow, once it's closed. So it will be here. Our profit is around just 27 pips. If you didn't exit at this price and you're still holding your trade, the sell is still valid until now. The sell signal that you are holding is still valid until now. But if you manage to exit at 27 pips, it would be good. EUR JPY, the general trend for EUR JPY is a sell on D1. So on H4, it was sell until last week, and a few days ago it was only a buy signal last Friday, but it was a sell signal for the whole time. So on EUR JPY, have I listed my EUR JPY? Actually, this was a very long sell since last week. If you would see, that's around 197 pips, and you would have a entry priced around this on EUR JPY, and it would just be positive 30, or you'll be holding your trade up to negative 70 pips until now. So sometimes, as you can see, I'm showing you the losses because not all indicators could give you 100% profit. You have to accept, and you really have to exit your trades, because as all you know, guys, there is no such thing as 100% accuracy on a foreign exchange. That's why we should manage our losses. But later on this webinar on GBP, I know there's a lot of good movement on EUR NZD for this week. So on EUR NZD, this is the signal. As you can see, the general trend for EUR NZD is a sell on D1, then H4 is a sell too. So the trade for EUR NZD is at this price, and we would set our TP around this price. As you can see again, our TP on EUR NZD was not hit, but the possible profit that you could gain is 160 pips. As you can see, it's already 160, so subtract it by 50, you should have at least positive SL around this price. So you would secure at least 110 pips profit on EUR NZD. Wait, one question. Do you have another TP for trades where the MACD lines are crossing at 0? Or is it some way at the... no. The best way for me is always the support and resistance. That's where I always put my TP. There are only two types of exit for me for a profit. This is for the profit side. The number one is the support and resistance. Once it's hit, that's gonna be your TP. The second one is a positive SL, the positive stop loss. Once the market moved more than 50 pips, at least secure 20 pips, and when it reached 70 pips and more, you only have to subtract 50 pips from your floating pips, and it's like a trailing stop, and secure the remaining pips. It's a negative 50 pips minus the floating loss. If you guys are using trailing stop, that would be good. Always secure 50 pips. So that's for the exit for positive trades. For negative trades, you should always exit on H4. So for example, I will give you another example, for our participant on our webinar. So I will take note about EUR/NZD. For example, AUD/CHF. There is the general trend for AUD/CHF this week was a buy. Since you can see the buy signal from AUD/CHF was since November, so it's a buy since this day of November until today. Then on H4 you would only check for the buy signals. So since this is a buy from here, so actually it was already buy at this time. So there are times that you could enter the buy since December 22 up to last week. Then this week it became sell. You would ignore the sell here on H4 because you are only looking for a buy since the general trend for AUD-CHF is buy. Then there's a buy this week. So let's put a back steer so I could discuss it properly to you guys. So you would enter around this candle, a buy signal. Then the entry would be around here because as you can see, H1 is positive too. I mean, H1 has a buy signal too. So your entry point would be around here. Okay, this is just an example, huh? So your entry point would be around this price. Yeah, this price, this candle at 0.6880. And as the candle goes on, so it's like this, goes on. Then at this point, you would see that there's a sell on H1, right? So even there's a sell on H1, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to exit at this price. You still have to wait for H4. So as you can see, there is the sell here at H4. So this would be your exit on H4. Unfortunately, for this pair, you would be around negative 50 pips. So that's how you exit on a losing trade on H4. I hope I answered your question properly. So are there some people who still have questions? I will continue the market review for this week again. So after EUR and ZD, have I give the analysis for this already? We should go to EUR USD now. The general trend for EUR USD is a sell. So we will only be looking for sell signals. Wait, there is another question. Oh wait, a moment. It's not related. Sorry guys. So EUR USD. The general trend is sell. So let's check for H1. So actually, if you have a trade here, actually this pair, I didn't took this pair. I'll give you another view how I'm looking this pair. Because for example, this is one of my strategies how I check if trade is good too. Because I think I already said this on my second webinar. So for example, at first you would check the support and resistance too, right? So this is the support and this is the resistance. The signal came at this price. As you can see, this part is a lot bigger than this one. So for me, the sell signal is closer to the support. And since this is a bit closer to me, this means that EUR USD is already at its lowest as of now. And if I would have a sell here, it's like taking a risk of around 44 pips possible profit, and my loss would be around 60 pips. So on a range of 100 pips, the take profit would only be around 40%, right? And your ratio is your loss is around 60% or 60 pips. And for me, this is not a good trade since your SL is wider. I'm not actually using that as an SL, but that's just how I only see the market. For me, the probability of the market going backwards or the risk of the market going on a buy is the ratio for me is not good. That's why I won't take this trade actually. But if you ever took this trade, you would be around negative 74 pips right now. I hope I managed to discuss this thing properly. Because if you would enter a sell here, it's like taking a profit of 40 pips only while it's still ranging at this price. Because since the price range up to this resistance level, the price might go back again. And for me, the percentage or the risk ratio is not good. That's why it's like 60 is to 40. Your risk is 60 and you're only taking a profit of 40 pips, and this is not a good one for me. I guess I already discussed this on Telegram and on the other webinar. That's why it's not a good trade, EUR/USD. And for this week, it's not still clear. EUR/USD is still not clear because H4 is still a buy and D1 has a sell. So we should still wait for EUR/USD. On GBP/AUD, unfortunately, this week there is no trade for GBP/AUD. We should still wait for GBP/AUD because on H4, GBP was buy since last week, and the D1 was sell since November. See, at the end of November, so it was still sell. But on H4, it says it's a buy already since last week, and until now we should still wait if these two lines would cross soon, or this GBP/AUD would give you a buy signal soon, since GBP/AUD is really low, as you can see. So there might be a possible buy here soon, because actually if you would check the GBP pairs, this week GBP are really strong. As you can see, GBP here on D1 has a 32 pips above, and it's the strongest on H4, and H1 is still moving, but on H4 it's the strongest for this week. That's why GBP pairs, as you can see, mostly have a buy signal. So there's no trade for GBP/AUD. On GBP CAD, this is a good trade for this week because as you can see, there's a buy at this part, right? And your TP is around this resistance, so around the 100 pips. You should have been able to secure the 100 pips here, and it's really strong, the GBP CAD. GBP CHF, it's still valid if you manage to take this trade. So for example, if actually this is not a good ratio for me, GBP CHF, because as you can see, your resistance level is around this price. Wait guys, I'll fix it for you. So the resistance price is around here, then the support is around here. The entry that GBP CHF gave us is around this point. As you can see, the profit that we could make is only around 37 pips, but the support level, it's like 92 pips away from it, and it's not worth it for me. So at least this should be at least 50-50. So if I would ever enter this GBP CHF, at least the buy signal would be around this price, around 1.21323, not at this price, because the risk reward ratio for me is not good, and it almost hit the TP actually for the resistance part. But if you enter this trade, it's negative 50 pips for you for now. That's why this is one of the reasons I always check support and resistance. As you can see, this is not a good trade, even there are buy signals here. On GBP JPY, it's still the same as GBP CHF. It's not a good trade. So the general trend for GBP JPY is buy since November too. And on H4, it's there's a buy signal for this week. And if you would check H1, so let's do the same analysis. The resistance is here and the support is here, but the entry that it gave us is around this point already. And as you can see, the risk ratio that you have is not good, and for me, I won't take this trade too, because the buy signal is very near the resistance level already, and I'd rather have a buy near the support. That's how you take note of it, guys. If you would take a buy, it's near the support level. If you would ever take a sell, it's at least nearer than the resistance level. So even this is a buy signal, I won't take it. So GBP NZD, GBP NZD. Let's see GBP NZD. So the general trend for it is a buy, but the buy signal on GBP NZD only happened like 3 days ago. So this is a Tuesday. Then Tuesday, after the market closed on Tuesday, it says that on Wednesday, the very moment that the market opened, it's already a buy. So since Wednesday until Friday, it's a buy. But for Monday and Tuesday, it's a sell. Then this is the area that it covers for H4, right? So H4 was buy since last week. So this could be a good trade. So but on H1, we would go to H1. I'll delete this one so you guys would see this properly. So there's a buy here. There's already a buy here. So you could already enter a buy here. If you manage to miss this trade, you can enter a buy here or you can enter a buy here. As of now, there's no clear profit for GBP NZD, but the entry is good for me. You could take this trade, but for now you only need to hold your trade. And if you manage to enter here, you are negative 28 pips as of the moment, and you're still holding your trade. If you miss this entry, you are break even until now, and a bit negative if you enter a few hours before the market closed. And it's still valid. You can still hold your trade since since the buy signal is near the support on GBP USD. This is still a valid trade since the general trend on GBP again for this time is a buy. So there's a buy here on H4. There's a buy too, and we would check the H1. The H1 is this one, so there would be a buy at this price. So as you can see again, the resistance is at this level, the resistance. Then the support is around this level. So if you manage to enter GBP USD at this level, it would be good. You would at least make 137 pips profit. But if you manage to enter GBP USD here, it would already be a bad trade. As you can see, the buy is very near the resistance again, so it's not a good trade. The only valid and the best trade for GBP USD is around here, which is around 130 pips profit. Wait, there's another question. How do I set up my MT4 to look like yours? What do you mean, George? About the lines like this one? Because these are called period separators. On H1, it's every separator that you would see is 1 day. So for example, this is Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday. On H4, this is gonna be this week. This was last week. This was 2 weeks ago. I mean, this is 3 weeks ago, and this was 4 weeks ago. On D1, it's gonna be the month. This is for this month of December, month of November. So if you want to have something like this, you should check this show period separators. If you uncheck this one, all the separators would be gone. So that's it, George. I hope I answered your question. Then let's continue with our webinar. So NZD CAD. On NZD CAD, there is no signal for this week. Wait, there's another question. Can you post a set file for 1 hour so we can rely on the settings every time you messed up ours, please? What do you mean by the settings? For all those who's using the indicator, the MACD-CSM, and who have it already, the default parameters is the only one that I'm using for this indicator, the default parameter. So everything is set. Once you put the indicator on your chart, it's going to be the same as the parameters that I'm using. Okay, no problem. So NZD CAD, there is no signal for this week. The general trend for NZD CAD for this week is a sell. Yeah. This is a sell. but as you can see, it's already a buy, right? So once the market opened, it's gonna be a buy, but it was a sell like uh, on Wednesday closing. So on Thursday, it's already sell, but it might change soon. But once the market opened, this would be a buy signal already. So for the past week, since Monday, Tuesday, and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's a buy. For Thursday and Friday, it's a sell. And this coming Monday, the general trend again would be a buy. So take note of this, guys. This means that NZD CAD is still not clear since the signal keeps on changing. But if you would follow the general trend, so there is gonna be a buy just few days ago here at this price. No. Yeah. There's a buy here, and let's check H1. Yeah, there's still no valid trade on NZD CAD. If you only take the NZD CAD trade signal on H4, you would be positive 27 pips. Then let's go for NZD-CHF. NZD-CHF has a buy signal. So if you guys have entered a trade around Wednesday, your trade is still valid and you can still hold it. So there's a positive 70 pips here. And if you're following what I taught you, you should have already exited with 20 pips profit, or 10 to 15 profit, 15 pips profit around. So this is the support, this is the resistance again. We will analyze it. The enter signal of NZD-CHF is around this price. Let's check H4 one moment, guys. Oh, no. There's no signal on NZD-CHF. Since H4 is a sell at this part and there is a buy from this part, then let's put this one, H4. So there is the buy signal here on NZD-CHF. Yeah, that's why I don't have this trade. One moment, guys. So as you can see, even the signal here is buy. The H4 signal is still sell from this part. That's why you won't be taking this trade even it's still a buy. So if you would see, NZD-CHF support is here, the resistance is here, the signal it gave is around this point, and the buy signal is near the resistance, and it's not a good risk reward ratio. So I would just ignore this trade. This should be ignored. So we won't take the NZD-CHF for this week. And NZD-JPY, there was a buy since November. The general trend is a buy on H4. It was a buy. It was a buy this week, and this is the valid signal for NZD-CHF would be around here. So yeah, it's not a valid trade for me. It's not a good risk reward ratio for me. So I won't be taking this trade. And since it's an H4, it's an H4 signal. The signal here is an H4. It doesn't come from H1. This is the reason why most of the users prefer to take the trades at H1 rather than H4. Because sometimes, as you can see, the high H1 actually has high accuracy than H4. That's why most of the users are only taking the H1 signal. But since the signal came from H4, and the signal is not valid for me in terms of support and resistance, so NZD-JPY signal is just ignored too. Which platform are, wait, how do I mean the time frame with blue and red arrows? This one. This is the, do you have the indicator, George? Because this is the indicator that we have, and by default parameters, you should have this kind of you should have this kind of arrows by default parameters of the indicator. So let's go for NZD/USD. On NZD/USD, there is a buy. The general trend for D1 is a buy since October. It's a very long trend. H4 is still valid. A few days ago, just few days ago, but because last week NZD/USD is a sell, and NZD, there is no trade for NZD/USD that time. So H1, let's check H1. So again, the signal on NZD/USD would be H4. So since the NZD/USD already changed to a buy this week, NZD/USD is a pair that we should wait for this coming week. Once the H1 changed this week, let's check for it. So there's no trade for NZD/USD for this week, but once this buy signal change, we could enter an NZD/USD this coming week. So for now, let's just take note of NZD/USD and wait for it. But at least if you would enter this trade, you should enter at least where the price is just around here. Yeah, 0.7160. Make sure that the price is lower than this, or a bit, at least near to 71.60, but not above that price. So once the price is lower than this and there's a buy signal that came out, we could enter the NZD/USD soon. Wait, I got a message. How do I get the indicator showing? Later, Gio, I'll answer your question. For now, let me finish the webinar since there are 3 more pairs. After this, I'll discuss how you would get the indicator. Next is a USD CAD. So there's a sell. The general trend for USD CAD, as you can see, was sell since October. So on H4, there was a sell this week. It only became sell this week. It was actually sell last week, but on H4 it became buy around Monday, and it became sell afterwards. So USD CAD, let's check for a sell on H1 time frame. So the entry would be on H4. So if you would enter USD CAD, oh yeah, as you can see, it's almost 50-50, right? The profit is almost 70 pips, but you are away by 100 pips. It's not a good trade, but still, if you take it, you would be around 70 pips at the moment. But for me, the signal here would came from H4, from this arrow, not from this arrow, because even there's a signal on this part last January 19. Let's check. Last January 19, the H4 signal was till a buy. That's why even there's a sell last January 19, the sell signal on H4 only came at January 20, 8 a.m. So the entry here would be H4, and it's not valid. So the same as the NZD/USD, we should wait again for USD CAD to have a sell signal on H1 soon. So once there's a sell signal on USD CAD, it could be a passive, it could be a re-entry for us. And for me, USD CAD is really good right now, because as you can see, USD CAD is going up, and once there's a sell signal here, since the price is near the resistance, you can take a sell soon, and it's gonna be a lot of pips. What's this question? Why this level for NZD/USD? Okay, that's the level for me on the NZD/USD, because as I always said, the price, at least if you would enter a buy, it would be at least near the support rate, So if, for example, you enter a buy here on NZD/USD, so for example, there's a buy signal at this price, for the bid price right now, which is 7.71797. So for example, you have a buy here. The buy signal that you would get is very near the resistance, but it's quite far on support. It's 80 pips. Distance to support is 84 pips, but your profit is only 45 pips. And for me, it's not a good trade because your profit, your what do you call this? Your entry point is very near the resistance, and it's very far from support. I hope I answered it properly. That's why the level should at least be 50-50, at least 50% away from resistance and 50% away from support. Okay, I'm good that you got it. So next one is, I already discussed this USD CAD, this USD CHF. So there was a sell here on USD CHF, which is just around 25 pips. Wait. So if you would check, the support is around here. The resistance is there. And this one is around here. So if you would have a sell, this is around at least 50-50, 37 pips, 32 pips. It's up to you guys if you would take this, but you could have at least a 32 pips profit. But usually I won't take this much trade because it's still a bit ranging, and the range is just around 60 pips, right, for this week for USD CHF. Then USD JPY on D1, there is a sell since June. It's a very long trend of a sell on USD JPY, and it's a sell for since June. So on H4, let's check H4. There was a sell here at H4 at this price. So if you would ever take the H1, let's check H1. So actually this is very near again, and the signal came from H4 again, not from H1. It's from this candle, not from this candle. So the entry here would be on H4, not on H1. And as you can see, the sell signal is very near the support level. So since sell near the support, it's not a good trade. And since the signal came from H4 too, not on H1, it's not a good trade either. So for now, since this already happened and the signal came from H4, and as you can see, H1 is still buy, we should take note of USD JPY for this coming week, because there could be a sell on USD JPY soon, the same as USD CAD. So we should wait for USD JPY and USD CAD this week also, and NZD USD. These are the pairs that we could check and wait for the coming week. And lastly, this is the thing that I've seen on all the pairs. Actually on GBP, my assessment on GBP for this whole week, GBP is still a very strong pair, as you can see. A very strong currency. GBP is highest, second to the highest on D1. On H4, it's still going up, and on H1, it's still positive. And mostly, as you can see, these pairs on GBP, AUD, GBP CAD, GBP CHF are mostly buy signal, which means GBP is still strong, and we could make what we would only check on GBP pairs mostly should be a buy signal. On AUD, even AUD is very strong on D1 time frame. You would see that H4 it's the lowest, so there could be a possible reversal for the general trend of AUD soon. It might be a possible reversal, or it's just a retracement and it will continue. It's a trend on D1 again, but because you could see the AUD, oh no, one moment. the AUD trend is it might close soon, but it's still a bit wide here on D1. On H4, we should still wait if it would just continue the general trend of AUD. On EUR, oh no, I'm sorry, I misclicked. On EUR, there is still a possible reversal on EUR. EUR is negative. The general trend for EUR is negative. It's the weakest on the D1 time frame. On H4, it's still strong. It's a second to the highest strong on EUR. And that's why EUR might get a reversal or a retracement. But for now, we should just wait for most EUR pairs. On NZD, my assessment on NZD is going up. It's positive on with 10.6, third highest on D1, the same as H4. On H1, it's a bit negative, but it's not too big. But the H4 and D1 time frame are positive. That's why NZD could still be bullish for this coming week. And as you can see, NZD here is positive on H4, just negative on D1, but NZD, both on CHF and JPY, and USD are all going up. On EUR NZD, it's a sell, so it means it's still strong. On AUD NZD, it's a sell here, but on D1, it's sell. But because it's on AUD, it's very, very strong on D1 time frame. That's why on AUD NZD, it's a buy signal, even though NZD is bullish. USD is still weak until now, as you can see on D1 time frames. USD on D1 time frame is negative 29.5. It's second to the lowest next to EUR. USD is still weak on H4. So USD is still weak, and there still might be some sell for USD pairs. The same as JPY. Let's check JPY. JPY is the weakest for this week, negative 25.5. This 1D1 time frame. JPY is still negative on H4 time frame. So JPY is still weak. And the same as CAD. CAD is, for me, looks still bearish. Even though on CAD it's 8.5. On H4 it's third to the lowest. And on H1, you would see it's very obvious that H1 has a sell signal. I mean, it's the weakest on the H1. So I hope I discussed all the currencies and all the pairs to you guys about the market review for this coming week, and I gave you the possible trades that we could wait, and some of the currencies that are still on reversal, and the currencies that we would still wait for the market to confirm whether it will go trending or go on reversed. And I hope if you guys do you still guys have more questions? I would still answer your question, but for now, the question of GSM is how do I get the indicator? Since you are part of the Telegram group, George, you would see that I've pinned the message, the product link of MACD-CSM. I'll here. I posted it again on our Telegram, so you would see where you would get the indicator. It's actually on MQL5, but actually MQL5 is having a problem right now. That's why I know there are some users that I have. There are some people who want to get the indicator, but is having a problem because MQL5 is having a problem with PayPal and it's still not available since last month. I hope once PayPal came back, you guys would be able to grab it. But if you have a Visa card or MasterCard, you can just buy it on MQL5. Do you guys still have more questions? Any more question? how about our group on webinar? So we could discuss about more of the signals this coming week. Yeah. One of the I know Marcus. Thank you, Marcus, anyway for posting your profits. You made a 6.75% this week. Even the market keeps on reversing, and yeah, there are some trades that I know or I guess you didn't manage to take, but it's still good. 6.75% for this week. And I hope some of the members would share their thoughts too. I would prefer if you would chat me on our MACD group than sending me a private message. So everyone would know your question, and if they would have the same question, I would be able to answer it too. No more questions, everyone? I'll check our webinar again. I guess there's. Oh, do you offer private classes? Been struggling a lot. As of now, I don't have a private classes. I'm only doing webinars weekly. I only have weekly webinars, but maybe I'll think about it about private classes because I don't know. I'm enjoying much of trading and not really doing that much, but maybe let's see about it if I'll have a private classes. No more questions, everyone. Yeah, thank you, everyone. If it's all good now, I'll be posting this replay on my. This would be available on my Facebook page, the replay of our webinar, and I'll be posting it on YouTube too. If you guys are part of our Telegram, it's I'll put the link there. And to everyone who's watching us on Facebook, you can join our Telegram group too, just for free. And sometimes members are giving free signals there, and we're talking about trades. And sometimes I'm giving trades that I've been taking too. And I know there are few trades that I gave this week that made profit too. I can't remember those signals that I gave to. I gave though, because I only know I posted it. Let me check our Telegram. Uh, there are some people who made on AUD and ZD. Did you guys manage to exit the trades on your AUD and ZD already? I guess you're holding this trade, this buy signal since last week. Is this the trade that you took? I know it's greater than that. Yeah, I guess this is the trade that you took. Yeah, around this part. The buy signal here. Yeah, not bad. No more. If you guys don't have any question, end our webinar now. And hope to see you guys next week again. And feel free to ask me some questions so we could discuss more about it. Have a nice day, everyone.